Hello, fellow travelers. So far, we visited many beautiful places, from the beautiful and unique streets of Tokyo all the way to the sky-high buildings of New York. And today we've come to the very unique and history-rich city of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a city in the Middle East, located on a plateau in the Judean mountains between the Mediterranean and the Dead Sea. It's one of the oldest cities in the world and is considered holy to the three major Abrahamic religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Both Israel and the Palestinian Authority claim Jerusalem as their capital, as Israel maintains its primary governmental institutions there, and the state of Palestine ultimately foresees it as its seat of power. However, neither claim is widely recognized internationally. Before the death of Prophet Muhammad in 632 CE, the people of the city Jerusalem had begun converting to Islam. This effectively began with the conversion of Tamim al-Dari in 631 CE, and many individuals from his clan, according to Jerusalem and Islamic Consciousness, a textual survey of Muslim claims and rights to the sacred city, by Dr. Hatem Bazian of the University of California at Berkeley. This started a trend that grew to include numerous Arabic-speaking tribes and families that inhabited historic Palestine. The city of Jerusalem at the time already contained one holy Muslim site, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is regarded as the third holiest site in Islam. Muslims believe this mosque was built 40 years after the Prophet Abraham built the Kaaba in Mecca. Noted Muslim-American scholar Dr. Muzammil Siddiqui has said Al-Aqsa is important to Muslims, not just because the Prophet Muhammad took his night journey from there, but also because of its importance to earlier prophets historically associated with Jerusalem, such as Solomon and David. The current Al-Aqsa Mosque standing today actually was rebuilt in the 7th century according to Siddiqui. Another sacred site in the Al-Aqsa complex, the Dome of the Rock, was also erected during that same time frame. During the immediate decades following Muhammad's death, Muslim armies defeated the Byzantines, who had conquered the Romans and driven them out of the Holy Land. It was the Romans who in 70 AD destroyed the Jewish temple and expelled the Jews from Jerusalem. They remained expelled until Caliph Omar ibn Khattab conquered the Byzantines and gained control of Jerusalem and Palestine. Omar allowed the Jews to re-enter Jerusalem and guaranteed them freedom of worship. The Jewish Virtual Library also confirms that Jews had been prohibited from Jerusalem for at least 500 years, a prohibition that ended under Omar's rule. Jerusalem remained under the control of various Muslim empires until the early 20th century, when the collapse of the Ottoman Empire meant the end of the Islamic Caliphate. During the centuries of Caliphate rule over Jerusalem, the region's inhabitants never questioned the authority of the Muslims over Jerusalem, according to Bazian. Muslim rule continued unabated, except for about 88 years during the reign of the European Crusaders. The Crusades were a bloody, horrifying time when European Christian forces killed Muslims and Jews by the tens of thousands. Some historical reports state Crusaders' horses walked through streets so filled with blood it reached the knees of their steeds. Saladin conquered the Crusaders in 1187 and reclaimed Jerusalem and Palestine for the Muslims. Centuries passed, and Jerusalem remained under the careful watch of Muslims, who allowed the freedom of practice the diverse faiths that originated in the Middle East. In fact, the keys to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, one of the holiest shrines for Christians, have been in the hands of the same Muslim family since the days of Saladin. Even today, the Nusayb family opens the church in the morning and locks it up at night. The peace and the future British mandate of Palestine was soon broken by the start of World War I, which quickly engulfed the Arabian Peninsula as Arab forces, with British support, overran Ottoman strongholds. The end of World War I marked the end of Muslim rule for Jerusalem, but not the end of Muslim dominance, as the British only became rulers of the land, not inhabitants. During the Mandate period, Jews from Europe and elsewhere began immigrating to Palestine. In 1947, under strong pressure from Zionist Jews, the United Nations partitioned Palestine, giving 54% of it to the Jews, who owned about 6% of the land. This partition, up through the May 15, 1948 declaration of the State of Israel, spelled doom for the Palestinian people. During the Nakba catastrophe, Zionist Jewish militants killed 13,000 Palestinians, forced 750,000 Palestinians into exile, and depopulated and destroyed 531 villages. according to Israeli historian Ilan Pappé in The Ethnic Cleansing of Palestine. From 1949 to 1967, West Jerusalem was an all-Jewish sector, while Arabs under the Jordanians controlled East Jerusalem. However, the 1967 Six-Day War changed that, when Israeli forces proceeded to occupy all of the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, the Gaza Strip, the Golan Heights, and the Sinai Peninsula. Israel has claimed a united Jerusalem as its capital, a claim not recognized internationally and refuted by the United Nations in Resolution 303. Israel may be divided into 4 geographical regions, 3 parallel strips running north to south, and a large, mostly arid zone in the southern half. The coastal plain runs parallel to the Mediterranean Sea and is composed of a sandy shoreline, bordered by stretches of fertile farmland extending up to 25 miles, or 40 kilometers, inland. In the north, expanses of sandy beaches are occasionally punctuated by jagged chalk and sandstone cliffs. The coastal plain is home to more than half of Israel's 7 million people and includes major urban centers, deep water harbors, most of the country's industry, and a large part of its agriculture and tourist facilities. Israel's climate ranges from temperate to tropical, with plenty of sunshine. 2 distinct seasons predominate, a rainy winter period from November to May, and a dry summer season which extends through the next 6 months. Rainfall is relatively heavy in the north and center of the country, with much less in the northern Negev and almost negligible amounts in the southern areas. Regional conditions vary considerably, with humid summers and mild winters on the coast, dry summers and moderately cold winters in the hill regions, including Jerusalem, hot dry summers and pleasant winters in the Jordan Valley, and year-round semi-desert conditions in the Negev. Weather extremes range from occasional winter snowfall at higher elevations to periodic oppressive hot dry winds, which sends temperatures soaring, particularly in spring and autumn. And also make sure to try begale. Begale in Hebrew or ka'ak in Arabic are huge loops of bread. The whole texture is similar to bagels, which are coated in sesame seeds often sold in little carts all around the Old City and the Muslim quarters, and it's perfect for dipping in hummus. But historically, Jerusalem's economy was supported almost exclusively by religious pilgrims, as it was located far from the major port of Jaffa and Gaza. Jerusalem's religious and cultural landmarks today remain the top draw for foreign visitors, with the majority of tourists visiting the Western Wall and the Old City. In 2010, Jerusalem was named the top leisure travel city in Africa and the Middle East by Travel Plus Leisure magazine. In 2013, 75% of the 3.5 million tourists to Israel visited Jerusalem. Given its history, Jerusalem is unsurprisingly a very religious city. Out of the population of 856,700 people, only 9,000 claim to have no religious affiliation. At 64%, the majority of the population is Jewish. Although there are, of course, different levels of adherence to the Jewish faith. The Muslim faith is the second most practiced religion in Jerusalem, representing 34% of the population. 2% of the population identifies as Christian. So there you have it. Jerusalem is a genuine city, and it offers many great sights that are worth seeing. And if this video convinced you, or you already know that you want to visit this beautiful city, we have assembled the best list of hotels you will find anywhere, and they're all priced competitively under $100, and we'd greatly appreciate it if you go and check those out. Thanks to everybody who watched, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we hope to see you in our next video.